Hey YouTube, it's another perfect morning here in God's country, and I ain't lying. Let me get my coffee. Thank you for taking yet another moment out of your day to hang out with me, Lucky Haskins. I really hate that I get sucked back into this and have to keep chirping on about this. But folks, it is very important for all of humanity to begin to grasp the concept between belief and knowledge. I cannot say this enough. I have made 1,000 videos encouraging people to keep both boots on the ground. Science is never supposed to be about belief, y'all. Why have humans allowed science to be so obviously stolen right in front of them? And more fascinating than that, what has happened to the human mind when they are informed of this? They seem to desperately and feverishly cling to their antiquated and clearly incorrect belief system as if it somehow compares to reality. Then they use their belief system and claim it as proof of something. And I'm going to get to this and these examples. It is so obviously clear how science was stolen in the early 1900s. First of all, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. For all of you who think that the globe Earth is a 2,500-year-old piece of knowledge, blah, 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 that's how they fooled the modern populace into latching on to non-demonstrable science and it becoming the reality. They began this campaign in the early 1900s. Doesn't matter if you want to believe that true reality or if you love your reality of we've always known it's a globe. The Greeks knew it was a globe. Yeah, and the Russians hacked the election too. If you're going to be stuck in a propaganda mouse wheel, maybe this conversation's not for you. For the large sections of humanity that have snapped out of the trance and pulled their heads out of the sand, and everybody who still walks around in a trance is confused. How did people get so dumb? What's with people walking around saying that the earth is flat and the globe is a lie and the germ theory is incorrect and blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's just speak very clearly. This is how I ran that clown Mr. Sensible off a few years back, by killing him with clarity that these guys are not used to. Quite frankly, I used to watch flat earth versus globe debates, and I used to try to explain to people how that's not a debate. Debating demonstrable science versus a belief system that's not demonstrable or provable is not a debate, folks. You're literally talking about a religious belief versus science. Science was never meant to be about beliefs. The only science that is about beliefs and opinions is non-proven science, things that have yet to be discovered, like the ridiculously bad globe Earth hypothesis, okay? Yet to be proven. And these people go like, oh, you disagree with all of science. Again, pointing out that their fundamental comprehension of their belief is based on the fact that some smart guys gave them that belief. And they think that that cannot be wrong. Therefore, they have no command of their own intellectual faculties, can't even comprehend their paragraphs that they come and they chime to people like me. They can't even comprehend the discussion. I've said this for 12 years. That is caused by heavy indoctrination. The purpose of the indoctrination was to get human beings to accept theoretical concepts as reality. That way the agenda could be simply and easily controlled. Folks, this is so self-evident, I'm tired of chirping about it. Why people want to defend theoretical science that disagrees with experiment in 2026 as they watch society spiral out of control based on these theoretical beliefs in this cult called Scientism. It's gotten ridiculous. So I'm going to be really poignant and clear today. I had a micro discussion with my sister last night, which is very fascinating because she's not involved in the globe Earth scientific discussion. But she's a really bright whippersnapper and always was right out of the womb. In fact, she taught me to read when I was like 2, which is, why I was a speed reader when I hit first grade. I've talked to you guys about being put into the GATE program, which is a whole nother rabbit hole. I knew it was creepy and weird when I was a child, but if you look into the GATE program and it's basically, it's the old metaphor. We got one that can see. They know how to spot the folks right up front real early that can see past the propaganda horseshit. It's built into their little bubble test, right? Just so y'all know. My mama continues to remind me that I tested in the top 1%, in the top 2%, I'm sorry. Nationwide, I tested in the top 2% in the bubble tests in first grade. And I tested in the top 1% in the category called reading comprehension. Well, we can all thank my sister for that. She's a real bright whippersnapper herself. So, so anyway, they threw me in that GATE program, blah, blah, blah. Luckily, we moved a lot and I was able to skirt out from under that. But that's what the GATE program is, folks. There was only a couple of children in there with me when I was young. And they're going to either be children of the adept, if you know what the adept is. That's not just the initiated. There are many that are the initiated. The adept are the members of the initiated that actually know what's going on in this realm. They're called the adept. Okay, and of course, these are all going to be highly compromised individuals. Let's not wander off the path. Today, I'm going to clearly explain to you guys the difference between theoretical science and demonstrable science, because I do have a guy, Josh, with all due respect, glad you got the cojones to come to a channel like this and attempt to spew your false reality beliefs upon us, but it's easily correctable, my man. I'm going to explain to you the difference, okay? Demonstrable science has nothing to do with belief. It's verifiable. That's what demonstrable science is. That's what real science is. Now, a lot of scientists, when I say actual science, they go, what's actual science? Because a lot of sciences now are all theoretical. That's because they're agenda-based, and the individuals involved don't care and aren't able to recognize that in some cases. Doctors are another huge example. It's all the whole Rockefeller system is set up to operate in a certain way. The sciences have been stolen across the sciences because it's the most powerful agenda, because so many people, as we keep witnessing every day, are so gullible and so eager to latch on what society has told them is reality, i.e. propaganda, social engineering, indoctrination. And some really smart guys proved it at some point. So Lucky's an idiot because he comprehends the science. Nobody should comprehend the science. We should believe what's on our television, right? Right. Well, here's the deal, folks. For those of you who don't understand that the flat earth is an experiment result, all experiment, any experiment you do to attempt to determine what we live on here in this realm will show the earth to be flat and stationary. That's why it matches all observation, all application, and of course, as I just mentioned, all experiment. Now, humans have a really tough time with this. It triggers them immensely because they instantly go, no, we have theoretical belief system that was given to us that makes the science null and void. And they believe that this is correct science because it's been taught to them as part of the Rockefeller education system to build and exploit humans in this Ponzi scheme that we all live in. All of this stuff is not debatable, folks. It's clear as a bell at this point. So how about I give some clear, poignant examples? Because this Josh guy keeps wanting to chime in and say, I believe this, and he believes that. And he's so incorrect. I used to tell people that say, oh, the globe earth versus the flat earth is like tastes great, less filling. No, it's not. You're talking about belief versus demonstrable science. Stop comparing them. Again, this is how I got rid of Mr. Sensible. I taught him the difference between belief and demonstrable science, and that if he wants to use a belief to null and void demonstrable science, I'm going to require some proof because I'm not that dumb. Okay? Keep both your boots on the ground. You'll never have to use belief to comprehend the science, like all of these globe earth believers do. That's why they get so triggered, because it is 100% belief based. They are pissed that they can't prove it, and that we are so easily to explain to them that they are living in a false reality, 100% based upon belief. And worse than that, it's a social engineering agenda that they've latched onto and allowed to wipe their mind. So they have no freaking concept of reality. However, demonstrable science shows us reality. It's indisputable and can't be argued with. Has nothing to do with belief. Good example, the Michelson-Morley experiment. Both sides know the result of the experiment. The experiment has been repeated thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of times. The experiment, which was designed to detect the motion of the earth, showed no motion of the earth. That is demonstrable science. It cannot be lied to you about. You can't be lied about it. You can't be told not to believe it or believe it. It's not about belief. Demonstrable science showed us the earth is stationary. Now, what did they do to protect the hypothetical globe earth model? Einstein came in and fabricated a theory, gave us a belief, a made up science fiction theoretical belief system to negate and claim. He didn't claim that those results didn't exist, folks. Do you get it? The results are demonstrable. We all can see the results. The demonstrable results of the experiment clearly show, through demonstrable science that is independent of the observer. You could go do this experiment yourself. It will show you there's no motion to the earth. Now, if you decide you want to discard real science, demonstrable science, and experiment, you are free to believe in theories, such as the one Einstein fabricated to pretend that the globe earth model still had significance. He simply said the measurement is incorrect because the measurement devices are expanding and contracting because of the warping of space-time, so we'll never get an accurate measurement. Now, people like Josh Fever like to believe these theories. However, it is not demonstrable science. It is not even science. It's not independent of the observer. It is a made-up, fabricated theory made up by one 33rd degree Mason to continue and propagate a hypothetical model that has been pushed by intention as part of the Rockefeller Ponzi scheme. It is that simple. Now that you know the difference between belief, demonstrable science. Again, demonstrable science shows the earth is flat. We know we can see Chicago across Lake Michigan. You can believe it's a mirage if you would like. It's been demonstrated to you continuously that it's not a mirage and we can see it. So what do they use to negate the demonstrable science? Demonstrable science that's observable, independent of the observer. You can go witness this observation yourself, and you can do the math and understand yourself that shows us that the globe earth hypothesis is incorrect. Or you can latch onto a non-demonstrable belief that is literally scientifically impossible and disagrees with all experiment. Then you can make fun of the people that understand the demonstrable observable science and claim that your belief trumps their science and makes it null and void. This is how science has been clearly and easily stolen and used as an agenda. The number one mistake of all people that make fun of flat earthers is they think that some smart guy proved the globe. And they think that science, they're like, you think all the scientists are wrong. There's not a scientist walking on this earth today whose job or efforts ever went into proving the globe. They were trained that it was a globe. Most of them are dropping this buffoonery belief. The highest levels of academia, of course, are making the adjustments as real scientists continue to correct the buffoonery that's been handed to us, and they have no choice but to make the adjustments. And of course, those of you who've been following the real scientific movements of the 2020s understand that academia is barely keeping up with us. They do their best. When you talk to the highest levels of academia, the people that are truly intelligent enough that they don't want to be made fun of in history, and so they speak the truth about theories like gravity and stuff, they literally say, well, none of this is going to be corrected until so-and-so passes away. This, again, is because humans just love their propaganda. They love controlled systems. They think that peer reviews are a good idea. They think that science should be incredibly controlled, censored, and operated through a system of peer pressure so that nobody can go against the theoretical concepts that are being used to guide humanity straight down the shitter as we all watch the Ponzi scheme come to a head again, as we know they do this over and over and over. So with all that said, I gave you a clear example. Now, the globe Earth hypothesis disagrees with experiment from its inception, as I've told you, and Lucky's never going to believe agenda-based theoretical science. Science has no room for belief. So I always trust demonstrable science. That is how the tool called science can educate human beings. If it's not demonstrable, don't believe it. If it's on your television but not demonstrable, you're being fooled. You're following an agenda. Now, again, we can simplify this. This is how I got Mr. Sensible to go away when he came after me. Literally, I did what the now infamous cake pan demonstration, knowing that all these people have such inferior minds that they're going to make fun of me. So I did the cake pan demonstration, made a mountain in there, poured the water on it, and allowed nature to take its course. Demonstrable science. Showed how water works in this realm. This is how I come out with the first video. So Mr. Sensible responds and says, yeah, you just demonstrated gravity. And I had tricked him, knowing again how these people operate on a belief system and understanding the script they're going to run down. You know, they've got a set list of scripted indoctrination propaganda points waiting in the wings to defend themselves, to defend their own buffoonery and their religious belief in scientism. So I knew the script he'd follow. So I never mentioned the containment when I did the demonstration. And then I showed, so now we all know, we can all agree what happens to water here in this reality I just demonstrated for you. He come back, took the bait 100% and said, you just demonstrated gravity. And I said, no, what I demonstrated is that water requires containment in order for us to have these lakes and rivers. I demonstrated the containment. So if you feel that I demonstrated your belief in gravity, go ahead and give me a demonstration. Simply remove the containment and show me how your gravity works. He realized real quickly that he wasn't talking about demonstrable science. I simply showed him how to comprehend the difference between a belief and demonstrable science. So then all his listeners are trying to get me to debate him. Boy, did that guy take off like a church mouse. I said, yeah, I'll debate you 100%. Demonstrable science only. No theoretical horseshit. Demonstrable science only. If you can't demonstrate it, doesn't count. Let's talk about demonstrable science. Crickets, that's how you run these guys off, folks. Every debate has always been a flat earther talking about demonstrable science and theoretical horseshit where they can just say whatever they want and we have theories that negate that science, so you're dumb. Word salad, blah, blah, blah. That's the world of idiocracy, folks. These are people that cannot comprehend the conversation. That's why the agenda-based scientism has been so effective. People do not even comprehend what logic and reason is, and that you as a human being can use logic and reason. And if you use logic and reason and it doesn't line up with what the television told you, maybe you should think twice. The reason I brought up my sister is she's at the exact same point with the germ theory, right? Flat Earth's a little too much for her. You know, she doesn't want to be stomped all over by people with by the fake smart with large egos. She knows better than to put herself through that. I'm certain she understands that we don't live on a globe and outer space is a fairy tale and the reasons for it. Basically because she was a real smart whippersnapper and got a scholarship to Michigan State University in the nursing field. Now, she never went on to work in this trade because she ended up being a mother and had some wonderful children. And of course, that was the correct move because we now have three outstanding young nephews running around. I say young, they're between like 20 and 30 and 35, or whatever, man, you know, but great young men. And so, of course, it was a wise decision to bring these wonderful young men into the world instead of devoting yourself to the Ponzi scheme that is the Rockefeller system. So anyway, when the 2020 scam happened, she was all over it and she was freaked out and started calling me because she knows I've been chirping about truth my whole life. Started calling me and saying, I can't believe they can say this stuff on television and they're showing the hospital's full and we went to the hospital and it's empty. It's all a lie and it's all based on a non-provable theory that disagrees with experiment. And I'm like, hey, welcome to reality, Michelle. You're snapping out of the trance. You're not probably going to sleep good for a couple months. Sure, shit. She didn't sleep good for a couple months. She's calling me, what is going on? We live in a world of lies. Yeah, welcome to reality, right? When you snap out of the trance, folks, you snap out of the trance. But anyway, the reason I make these videos is clearly there's still a lot of people that have a lot to learn. One thing that you will notice is that my direct challenge will never be met. You're never going to find somebody that comprehends the globe earth discussion, that understands their belief in its depth, that knows anything about the difference between theoretical science and demonstrable science. You're never going to find a person of high intelligence that will defend the globe earth in any way, shape, or form, or argue against demonstrable science in favor of agenda-based horseshit propaganda. You will never find an intelligent human being doing that. And I point this out over and over and over. And listen, my man Josh, again, thank you for having the cojones to chime in and attempt to converse in a logical manner. However, you're lost in your theoretical programming. Your agenda-based science is keeping you from even comprehending what demonstrable science is. All demonstrable science involving the shape of the earth always shows the earth to be flat and motionless. It's only theories that are used to nullify those experiments. It's the same thing every time. That is because the globe earth hypothesis is agenda-based. They cannot let go of this agenda. They would lose all their ground. Look, I'm not going to go into it. Obviously, the minds that are completely wiped due to this stealing of science, claiming it as science by just calling it, just giving it a word, science. You don't believe science, Lucky. You don't believe science. And all of the scientists, anytime somebody says you don't believe all the scientists, get them to name one. They got to be specific, folks. Name one. Name a scientist that can prove that the earth is a globe or that it's his job. You won't find one, folks. If anybody could prove the globe earth, they would have done it. Do you understand the globe earth's never going to be proven because it disagrees with experiment? That's how we know it's wrong, folks. Snap out of the trance. Ask yourself, who can I help today? And most importantly, go out and do it.